Saw my previous videos on Rocket Lab. It's my highest risk, highest reward stock. That video is down in the previous videos. I also did an update on the Capstone mission. They delayed the mission by a day, but they got the mission off successfully. Everything went well. So I'm gonna do just a quick update on what happened with the mission and why I am so bullish on the stock and what this means for the future of Rocket Lab, while taking into consideration this is a very, very, very high risk stock. So just be aware if you're thinking about investing in it. First and foremost, because of the volatility in this stock, it's relatively small market cap and relatively low volume of shares traded. I'm gonna share my exact position size up front and the fact that I'm buying more shares on July 1st when I get new contributions into the portfolio. I'm just sharing that up front before I do it with everybody. Here is my Rocket Lab position. It's $4,400. So in the grand scheme of things, lesson number one with a stock like Rocket Lab, you have to be comfortable with extreme volatility and the potential for complete loss. If I lose this $4,000 completely, it will not make or break my financial life. That's how I think about owning a stock that's this volatile. Next thing, transparency. I wrote an email to my email subscribers. July 1st, I'm going to be buying more Rocket Lab. I went into everything from how I think about valuation in the future and all that stuff in the email. I'll link it in the description below. You can check out austin.substack.com. Let's get to the recent movement in the stock. It's been extremely volatile. Today it's down 7%. Over the last 5 days, it's down 11%. They just had this successful launch in the last 5 days. They had it in this week. So why is the stock down? Well, oftentimes people that are kind of short-term traders or looking to take short-term profits will try to get into a stock before something like a big launch like this and then sell the news or sell the hopeful pump in the stock that they get from the news headlines and the excitement. That happens. I don't really worry about that at all. This is not a short-term trade for me. This is a stock I want to obviously follow, but own for 5, 10, 15, and 20 years. And I talk about that in my previous videos and in the email that I wrote to subscribers. So anyways, very volatile stock, and it has sold off this week even after this great news. Again, I'm buying more shares on Friday, July 1st. Anyways, this is what happened, and this is kind of just a brief synopsis of the update, right? And you can follow Rocket Lab on YouTube if you're into this stuff. Or on Twitter, I suggest following them at Rocket Lab. But the capstone launch for NASA in advanced space is paving the way for future NASA Artemis missions to explore the moon and beyond. This mission is bigger than just itself, bigger than just this mission. This is a pretty awesome imagery. I mean, I'm so excited and happy and optimistic and lucky to be alive when we're doing things like this in space. How exciting. Okay, and so tweet from the account, we're paving a new path to the moon. Following this beautiful night launch on Electron, Capstone is now on its way toward an orbit intended for NASA Gateway, a lunar space station that will support the NASA Artemis program. Again, bigger than just this mission. They shared a PR update, and I just want to read this piece and this quote from the CEO. And this is how I think about this mission. It's not the revenue from this mission. It's not the next 6 months or the next year. It's if they're successful and they continue to do this and advance this, they're going to get more contracts from NASA, more contracts from the DOD, more commercial contracts. They're continuing to prove themselves. And if that works, the upside in this stock is tremendous with a lot of risk. I want to keep reiterating that. Today's launch was an important step in humanity's return to the moon and a testament to the determination, resolve, and innovation of the hundreds of people behind Capstone, said Rocket Lab founder and CEO Peter Beck. Rocket Lab was founded to open access to space and enable groundbreaking missions like this that push the limits of what's possible with small satellites. But what I want to point out is the difference between this mission and previous missions and why it's going to be so consequential for the future. Unlike Apollo lunar missions of the 1960s and 70s, which took a free return trajectory to the moon, this fuel-efficient ballistic lunar transfer makes it possible to deploy Capstone to such a distant orbit using a small launch vehicle. While this gravity-driven track takes longer to reach the moon, it will dramatically reduce the amount of fuel Capstone will need to reach lunar orbit. So that's what this is all about, a more efficient path to the moon that they can then build off of and launch more missions and more satellites and do things that have not been possible to do with small launch vehicles in the past, opening up a ton of new launch and project capabilities.